So my name is Saral. I use she, her pronouns, and I have been working at Say for the past 4 months. So I just started working here recently as the Housing First Support Advocate. Yeah, as a Housing First Support Advocate, I'm part of the Housing First team. So I get to sit at the front desk with my lovely coworker, Leslie, who y'all will be hearing from later. But we kind of sit at the front desk, so we're able to do intake for clients when they come in, or if they're calling, kind of tell them about the services we offer. And then if we're able to offer them any financial assistance, like that might be my role in helping them get connected to our housing support. So yeah.
Absolutely. And can I just say, Sarah, we're so glad you chose to join the SAFE team. And it's an absolute pleasure to work with you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. So grateful to be working alongside wonderful advocates like you all.
And we didn't prompt you to say that. This is all just saying. Sujey, welcome to the conversation. And
Thank
if
you.
just go ahead and introduce yourself and how long you've been with Say, what you do.
Okay, thank you. Well, my name is Sujey Reynoso. I go by the pronouns she, her, ella. I've been with SAVE for almost 2 months now. I am a volunteer. I'm working on my hours to complete my 100-hour volunteer run of it. But in the short time that I've been there, I love it. It's so rewarding. I work as a support for Leslie and Saral. I basically do take-ins. I talk to clients on the crisis hotline. That's basically what I do most of the time, take the crisis hotline. But when the crisis hotline is quiet, I do try to learn as much as possible about the inner workings of the SAFE program. And I must say I'm highly impressed. It is it's a well-oiled machine from my point of view. We have housing advocates, we have counselors, we have Shayla, we have Kate, we have everything needed in support that could be in support of the clients that come in through the door that need help. And it's a very homey, very, very, very warm environment that welcomes you in. And I really love that. I felt welcome. I felt welcome to ask questions, to get involved in any way I could possibly be curious about that I could be involved in. And so far, I really am very fortunate and grateful to be part of this movement. And I call it a movement because it is a movement. It's definitely a movement. It's something that, is very close and dear to my heart, because I know that it's necessary. It's the people that come through the door. When they come through the door or when they call, it doesn't equal to the amount of need that's out there. It's just the ones that we're getting information from that are actually taking the chance and calling us. And I'm grateful to be part of that process for them to seek help and to break away from patterns of domestic violence.
And on the Thank you, Sujey. I want to also acknowledge something, Sujey, that you raised, which goes into our larger conversation today about, people who are actually seeking services are just a fraction of all the people who are needing services. And there's so many barriers to people actually showing up, people feeling that it may be safe enough to ask for services, people feeling the services are relevant to them. There's so many barriers to successfully serving someone. So what brought both of you? It's not easy work, it's rewarding work. So what brought both of you to this movement and what keeps you here?
What brought me to SAVE was that I actually got the information from another connection through an email, because I'm actually, well, when we say everyone knows someone, I'm that someone. I'm actually a survivor, and I like to say thriver now, because I am thriving. I am someone that has been helped by the systems in place with locations such as SAVE. And that is why it's very near and dear to my heart, because it took a very long time for me to leave the domestic violence situation that I was in. a very long time. And I believe that everyone kept on repeating it to me, that it's an average of 7 times for someone to even leave. And I didn't actually realize that until I sat down one day and I was looking through all of my journals, and I was like, oh my God, this is the 7th time. And this is when I'm actually ready to take the jump. And it is terrifying. It is terrifying, terrifying from step 1 to second try to third, fourth, 5, 6, 7th. And I was very fortunate that I had so much support, because I could not have done it by myself. And I want to repeat that and reiterate that I could not have done it by myself. It took a mechanism of a crane-like human um, uh, machinery, well-oiled machine, to get me out of a situation that I had normalized. And I thought it wasn't so bad. And, maybe it's better to stay. And so that's why I have so much compassion, because I've actually lived through it. And everyone knows someone, and I am that someone, and I am not the only one. I had normalized this behavior because I had seen it mimicked through transgenerational just behavior, and normalized in my community. So I definitely am all for this movement, whatever I can do, whatever little, I know I cannot change everything, but the little bit that I can do to put in my part to help, I will do that. And I feel like it's my duty. It's my duty, because I was helped, and I'm paying it forward now. It runs deep for me. It really does.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, and sharing it with so much vulnerability and courage. We really appreciate that. And we appreciate how you are showing up here now to give back. So yes, I think that your words are so powerful, and they're really a call of action to all of us to think through to what we could be doing. So thank you so much, Sujey.
Thank you. No, thank you. I'm grateful I'm part of it, for giving me a chance. I'm like, can I do this? Can I do? Yes, it's in my heart. It's my passion. It's become my passion. I think of it all the time. How can I better? How can I better myself to improve what I do?
And I feel like this respect, this feeling of mutual respect and gratitude with which we all work is many times our strength, because we know that we can lean on each other. Advocates need that too. Advocates, we are always talking about serving, but it's true that we need self-care. We need to be able to sustain. We have to lean on each other, understand where we are coming from. So, really, really not other ourselves from the movement, or see ourselves as different. So thank you for opening the door to all of this, all of these reflections, Sujey.
Oh, thank you.
And Saral, how about you? What brought you to this movement? What brought you to SAVE? What keeps you going?
Definitely. I think probably there's so many different things that I attribute to bringing me to this very point of being here at SAVE. But I would say that I grew up in a very matriarchal family, and I grew up with my mom and my grandma. So I've always been surrounded by strong, powerful women. And while I'm not a survivor of, DV, of domestic violence, like I am a survivor of multiple different things as well. So I think being surrounded in a community of survivors, and that's also meant to serve survivors, gives me a lot of strength in a lot of ways. It gives me a lot of hope, and just being able to do this work and working alongside Sujey, working alongside you, I want to continue to put myself around, strong women, strong folks doing this work. And that definitely is something that helps keep me grounded in this work. And, gender-based violence is something that is so stigmatized, and something that is made a lot of justifications for, something that is swept under the rug oftentimes. So for us to just be sitting here and having this conversation, talking about why this is important, talking about, why we need to be doing this work is really incredible. And I think it's really awesome. And I really think that everyone knows someone is a really powerful hashtag, because it really highlights the way that, everyone is affected, if not personally, someone that we know, someone close to us, someone in our community, teacher, neighbor, whoever is impacted by something like this. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Saral. Thanks to you also for, so generously and courageously sharing. It feels like, we what we are acknowledging and honoring also is our own voice, not just not only amplifying voices but of others, but to truly recognize and lean into our own lived experiences and our own voices. There's something that brings us to the movement. There's always something, and just going back to why we began honoring what we need. I think, Domestic Violence Awareness Month is a time for us to honor everyone who's involved in the movement and really honor each other as well. So thank you, Saral, for your share, and Sujey for what you shared. I think my question would be, we talked a little bit about how the community around us is impacted. It's really everywhere. I've never met a person who doesn't understand or has not known of or heard of domestic violence, even if they didn't recognize it as domestic violence, because it's normalized so often, and how violence is really perpetuated in our community. Both of you are people who work in the community, who serve clients directly. If you were to talk to people in the community, what would be some of the things you think people can be doing differently, or they're doing really well and should continue doing, that can really help the movement? Anything? How can the community help or keep helping?
Something that comes up for me is when I hear you pose that question, something that I think the community is doing really well. I know that my grandparents are practicing Hindus, so they have their little community of friends that they are like practicing with, and like they have their church or temple, sorry, that they go to. So I know something that they do is they like to do like, they have this newsletter. So in the newsletter, they've been trying to like add different community resources, especially for folks who maybe don't know English as well. So they have this like Gujarati newsletter that they put together, so that way folks who may not be able to access like community resources can, figure out how to get connected. Mm-hmm. So I think that's it's something that they're working on making bigger, but I was really impressed and really proud to hear that these older folks were, trying to get that together, because also, DV isn't something that is just affecting younger people or middle-aged people. It's all, all ages. So I was really impressed to hear that.
Yeah, there's a role for all of us to play. Like we often forget the seniors and the youth as resources. We underestimate or overestimate what people's impact can be. So thank you. Yes, Saral. Sujey, you were about to say something. I feel like I cut you off.
Oh, no, you didn't cut me off. I was just thinking, I think with my futures, I'm sorry. Actually, what I was thinking of is while I was attending school, I did study gender, the dynamics of power and gender violence. And what really was shocking to me was that during school, and I was experiencing the trauma back then too, was that it affects everyone, but I know that predominantly it does affect women, gender-based violence. What was most shocking to me was the amount of women that are killed at the hands of their partners, the amount of women that have had to endure so much before they reach that point, before they're killed. And it was shocking to me. The numbers were just staggering. And at that point, it was kind of an alleviation, because I was like, I'm not alone. That probably was one of the catalysts that helped me, like, okay, I'm not alone. It's not me, because there's something about it being normalized. It's saying, maybe if I would have done this, and we talk about it all the time, Saral and Leslie, and I, it's not you, it's a problem. It's literally a big problem. But when I think about it, how do we make the community, make a difference, making it so it's more aware, so it's not just a little cutout in a newspaper of a woman being shot and burned in a car because her lover didn't accept that she didn't want to continue being in a relationship with him. No, making a scandal. I mean, it is scandalous how how much this is going on, but I do want to respect the anonymity of those that want to keep it under, closed, closed doors, because it is shameful. I know, I felt it, but it is a big problem. It needs to be addressed in a community level, national level. I mean, even globally, we can see it happening all over the place in the news with everything that's happening with the war that we've just exited, and Afghanistan. Like, where are the women? There's no more women in the streets. And in a way, it's like, how far away are we from that here in the United States? Where are the women? What's happening to us? And it's not just women, it happens all across the board. It happens to transgen males, gay, bisexual, the LGBT community is highly affected and highly marginalized. I don't believe that there is enough, I guess, scandal behind it, like just outrageousness, like the outrage behind it. Like, people are really getting hurt and killed behind this, especially at that moment when they're about to leave, especially at that moment when they're making that jump. And it's so terrifying. And having lived through it, you need the support, not just before, not after, but way after, because the effects are so long lasting. And I think that we definitely need to emphasize, no, it's not just about getting away. It's about what happens after.
Yes. Yes. Because so oftentimes the narrative and the messaging and the care stops at getaway.
Yeah.
Which really assumes that everybody is going to be able to get away, first of all, or that's the best solution for someone. And then really does not think about the support needed after, where a lot of the rebuilding, the healing, the disconnecting needs to happen. And that's a lot of the work that we often do as well, because crisis happens over and over and over again. And I think people don't realize that the story keeps stopping at whether somebody got away or not. And there's so much sermonizing around it. The humanizing part that you're talking about, Sujey, I often feel like even in the news articles, we jump into the doing or into the concluding of what we don't stay with the feeling, because it's an experience somebody's just had, as you're saying, where are the women? Why does it happen? And there is a whole systemic view to it. It's not that one family or that one family. It's a whole system of oppression.
Yes.
So yes, I feel like we could be talking a long time. The three of us could be talking on this for a long time, all day. We should have an all-day live stream on it, actually. But I want to thank you both for joining. We are kind of getting at the end of the 20-30 minutes we wanted to be on air. One message to the community as we think about DVAM. You think about how this month is landing for you, what this month can mean for the community. I don't want to, whatever comes from your heart. One message to our community from both of you.
Sorry, I'm thinking too.
Yes,
the oppression is so powerful right now that it would take something just as powerful to switch it around. And I'm hoping, I am praying, I am working towards making it possible so that I could be part of that movement that switches that oppression around so that it's upside down. Not upside down, right side up, because it's upside down right now.
Yeah. Thank you.
I would say we all have like multiple voices inside of us, and so we can all access that and like take a stand, whether it's with domestic violence or whatever we believe in. We can like use our voice and use the privilege that we have to just stand up and make things happen.